Welcome back to episode 64 of Los Angeles Rams franchise here on Dynasty Central Sports. Thank you for joining us in this episode. We are having the off season after our Super Bowl 58 win over the Houston Texans 27-11. DaRon Bland was the Super Bowl MVP. We had a bevy of award winners this season, and so let's take a look at the 2023 retirements. Alejandro Villanueva, our left tackle, is retiring after 10 years. Take a look at the list of big names retiring. Gronk is retiring after 13 years. Malcolm Jenkins, Pat Pete, Trent Williams, Harrison Smith, Adam Thielen, big names going off and going into the golf course, possibly the broadcasting booth. Earl Thomas III is going to probably head off and have some more menage a trois with his brother. Rodney Hudson, a big-time center for the Raiders, goes down with retirement. Alshon Jeffrey is going to go for retirement. A lot of no-namers or long-namers that just aren't on the team anymore. They're just a little bit less developed anymore. And then John Gruden, the head coach for the Jets, is going to retire. We have these final re-signings of players: Big Rig Higgs, Micah Kiser, Natrez Patrick, and Tremaine Akram Jr. We are not going to offer another contract to Brian Allen. Since Alejandro Villanueva is going to retire, I'm going to try to offer him a final contract, see if he will accept this. If not, no big. I don't mind having him go to free agency, and he's going to say no, he's going to go free agency. So it looks like going into free agency, I want to address a big play wide receiver position. I know we have Quinn Bright. He is a fantastic speedster, little type wide receiver, can really stretch the defense with his speed. But he's not very tall, he's not very strong. Josh Reynolds is supposed to be that big play wide receiver, but he just has not been that big play wide receiver since we started the series. And so as a superstar level, he's an 87 overall. He's a young player. We signed him to a long contract, but you know what? I think right now is the time to possibly move on from Josh Reynolds. So hopefully we can find a big play wide receiver in free agency. If not, we'll keep him. No big deal. We still have a lot of our defense coming back except for Micah Kiser. We got Kenny Young right now in the middle linebacker 2 position. Might want to actually look at that position in the draft. So I'm not going to really add a lot of free agents in this episode. If we do sign a big wide receiver for the free agency, probably going to try to trade Josh Reynolds. Maybe pick up a offensive lineman. They're pretty easy to trade for, and Josh Reynolds really does not have a huge value to him, even though he's a young, good wide receiver. He's just not electric, and for his price and at his overall level, he should be better. So we're going to go into free agency. Let's take a look at some of the big free agents. Stephon Gilmore at cornerback, not a big need for us as we got Ramsey, Bland, Shaun Wade. We got a lot of good cornerbacks. Fletcher Cox, a lot of money. He's got actually a pretty short wants. Julio Jones, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's the type of guy I want. 6'3", 220, 89. He's a superstar X Factor. He fits the scheme. Yeah, he's 35, but could play 2 more years maybe, and he's pretty cheap, $26.6 million. Josh Reynolds is pretty cheap too, but he's 29. He's actually a lot older than I thought. Most likely not going to be adding a lot of big name free agents. I don't want to go out there and spend a lot of money, especially since we got a lot of young players coming up with contract renewals, and they're going to be expensive. Eventually, DJ Uiagalelei is going to be costing us a big money situation. Quinn Bright is going to be costing us. And we got Aaron Donald coming up with a new contract. Kayvon Thibodeau is definitely going to cost us. And Deron Bland for sure is going to cost us as well. So I'm going to want to maybe save our money. So a lot of these free agents that I'm going over right now is just for your benefit to see who's out there. But most likely I know we have a lot of cap room, 6.1, 6.1.
Nice execution.
You're doing terrific.
61.6. Why the fuck can't I talk right now? $61.6 million in cap room. And we have a lot of money in space, but I want to preserve that. We just won the Super Bowl with a lot of cap space, so I'm not looking to add more just for the fact of repeating. I think we could repeat with this roster, go out and get that big wide receiver, move on from Josh Reynolds. We still have Devontae Smith, who's a fantastic slot wide receiver, still in the mold of Quinn Bright, and he's a little taller, but still not as strong. So that's why I want to go out and get maybe a more physical wide receiver, and that's why Julio Jones, man. Ever since I saw him on that list, I feel like I have to bring him in. I want to look at a backup quarterback, but at this price and where Mackenzie Milton is at a 70 overall, there's no need to get a backup quarterback, especially since Mackenzie Milton can do stuff that any other backup quarterback can do. So Julio Jones, the only guy I'm going to offer in free agency. I think he is going to be a huge addition to our team and the wide receiver crew because he's just such a good wide receiver. He's going to take up a lot of focus on this play, bring out Quinn Bright, bring out Devontae Smith, hoping to hone in Nick Sylvester more now that he's going to step up as the starting tight end. I think I'm going to look in the draft as well for a second tight end. I'm looking more for a blocking, more bruising type tight end. So even though a lot of these good tight ends out here, there's I like the vertical threat tight ends. They're definitely the scheme fits. But really, I want a blocking tight end because I know Nick Sylvester is going to be that stretch vertical threat type of tight end. So moving on from there, I do want to add some help on our offensive line as well. Manning is right now set up to be left tackle, and I think I want to shift him to left guard, move Dylan Raduns to center, and I think he would be a perfect center. We still have Rob Havenstein on the right guard, and then we got Logan Brown on the right tackle position. And so what I am going to do is hopefully see, look, Tagatula Lima is a good center, but he's 26 and he's 71 overall. I think moving Raduns over to center, Manning over to left guard, and then we pick up a left tackle somewhere in free agency. I didn't really see many, but maybe, Cyrus Tuateli, a former Rams draft pick. So really, the only person we're going to be offering in free agency will be Julio Jones, the wide receiver. So what we're going to do is we're going to offer Julio Jones a 2-year contract. Superstar X Factor. Yeah, he's 35 years old, but I have not shied away from older players. We had Tom Brady up till he was like 90 years old. So let's offer him $27.1 million over 2 years, and he will accept this offer, which means we're going to move on from Josh Reynolds. We're going to keep Quinn Bright. We're going to keep Devontae Smith. Dontrell Finch is still there, Quez Watkins. But let's move Josh Reynolds for Walker Little, 6'7", left tackle, 82 overall. He is 11th in the overall left tackle rankings. Yeah, he's a normal dev trait, but that's offensive lineman. They're all kind of like that. And he's 82, a low cap hit, and that's definitely a position of need. We're going to try to move Josh Reynolds, and they will accept it. The Minnesota Vikings are going to accept Josh Reynolds for Walker Little, left tackle. 82 overall, a fantastic. It says he's not a good scheme fit for our team, but I think he's actually going to be a fantastic scheme fit for our team. a good young left tackle we can put on that line. Assistant GM is talking to us about Shaun Wade's 5th-year option. Definitely going to add that to our budget because Shaun Wade played fantastic at the end of the season, and I think he's going to usurp Holton Hill for that 4 cornerback position, and Shaun Wade might be a big-time 3 cornerback soon. We got Walker Little. Of course, I want to re-sign him for that 5th year just because he has not even been out there. Barely saw him on the field last season while he was in Minnesota. Of course you didn't fucking see him. Take a look at the draft class. We're going to use Chili Chill's draft class, and I'm going to be using his draft class that you can download under his screen name. It is a completely customized draft class, using it in this 4th season before we go into the computer created draft classes. I thought it would be pretty cool to use Chili Chills because he's a fantastic creator on YouTube. He's a great guy, and I want to highlight his draft class in this series. I think it would be a great cap off to the draft classes in this series before we go into the computer generated draft classes where the drafts won't be as good. So looking at some of the help along the line, looking at some of these players, I did not do any behind the scenes scouting or anything. I just watched his video on YouTube. You can actually take a look at the link down low, and I will link that video in the description comments so you could go check it out and see his comments about it. I'm going to be featuring that video in the draft as well. And so I have not done any pre-scouting. I just want to go in this completely blind like I usually do with drafts, except for adding some of the players that I did, and like Quinn Bright, stuff like that. But this is completely blind, not even looking at any of these players beforehand. And I think this is going to be a fun draft to come into because really the Rams don't have position of need. Yeah, I could bring in a left tackle. We could bring in a right guard, whatnot. But we have a full lineup that can go out day one and play to the end of the whistle, win the game, and be happy. So, I could bring in any type of player in this draft, and that I'm not going to focus on bringing them out onto the field immediately. Depends on who we draft. Obviously, there's some good players in this draft. I know talking to Chili Chill, he put some, gems in the backgrounds. He went over this draft class with a tooth and comb. It was just meticulously crafted, this draft class, for people to use in their series, in their franchise. So, take a look at the free agencies as we just finally wrapped up all the weeks of free agency. Julio Jones did sign with the Rams. He's coming out. We traded Josh Reynolds. We got Julio Jones and Quinn Bright, a pair of superstar X-Factor wide receivers. 35 years old, 6'3", 220 on the left side, and Quinn Bright, 5'9", 125 pounds wet, and on the right side with speed to burn. And I'm excited for this offense with DJ Uyunglele slinging the pigskin around to Devontae Smith. We got Nick Sylvester still catching balls back there. So I'm excited for this franchise going forward. Take a look at the rest of the free agent offers and signings. Laviska Shenault Jr. signs with the Lions. Antoine Winfield Jr. goes over and signs with the Saints. And then we got Jonathan Taylor going up to Minnesota. Big Rig Higgs goes all the way back over to Washington to play for the football team. And a lot of players switching hands out here, but that's what free agency is all about. There's going to be a lot of new people in the locker room. And the only new person in this locker room so far for the Rams is Julio Jones at wide receiver and Walker Little. He is a 6'7", left tackle that we picked up in the trade for Josh Reynolds. Jared Goff signing in Las Vegas, coming back to the West Coast, signing for $50 million. Wow, he fucking shredded the Vegas Raiders for a contract that he does not fucking deserve. Chase Claypool goes to the Vikings as well. All right, so we're going to finish up this episode. Thank you for watching this off-season episode. It was a short one. We signed Julio Jones, traded Josh Reynolds, got Walker Little, and we are setting up for the 2024 NFL Draft, featuring Chili Chill's draft class that he has created, customized for Madden 21 franchise. Like and subscribe down below. Thank you for watching and supporting Dynasty Central Sports. Throw us a comment. Love to hear from you guys that are watching and supporting the series. We'll see you next episode for the 2024 NFL Draft. We'll see you later.